Hi, it's Chima here. Right, so have you ever heard someone say, let me sleep over it? Or you have said it yourself when you've been approached and you've been asked a question, or someone wanted to make a decision on something or give them an advice on something, and you say, give me some time, let me sleep over it, right? Have you wondered or considered why people say, let me sleep over it? Or has it just become cliche? Right? No, please stop and think. There is something powerful about sleep, right? I woke up this morning and I'm looking at my device. I kind of monitor my sleep every day. And I'm looking at it and I'm just going to kind of take a look at that on my phone because I'm going to share something with you now on the screen so that you can see what I mean. So I woke up this morning and I looked at my sleep duration. So to last night, not sure what I did, but last night I slept early. I slept at 9:51, right? That's early for me, but yeah, I did sleep at 9:51 and I had 7 hours sleep. My God, my average sleep duration is about 5 hours, but yes, I slept for 7 hours. I was quite tired, but anyhow, um, you can see from here. I'm looking at this here now. You can see from here that there are four stages, of sleep, kind of noted here. But bear in mind that there are three broad stages of sleep. So the awake stage, the REM stage, which is a rapid eye movement stage, and then the non-rapid eye movement stage, which is then split into two. The non-rapid eye movement stage is split into light sleep and deep sleep, right? And if you notice from this device here, it shows them in cycles, because what tends to happen is you go through that light deep REM, deep REM. So a cycle of light deep REM is about 90 minutes, then another light deep REM, another 90 minutes. You tend to go through those cycles of sleep through the night, right? And then there are sometimes you also have the awake. So you suddenly wake up. So if you see on this graph here, you can see that my awake, there were spots of me kind of being awake, and I didn't know this, I was sleeping. But then you can clearly see where I woke up later, because it's broader, right? You also see benchmark with people. It says people like me. I don't know what that means, people like me, but yeah, it's able to use data from the Fitbit Google database and mark my sleep stages, right? My awake stage, my REM stage. I love it because my REM stage is wide, and I'm going to tell you why. And then my light sleep stage reaches matches what happens with people like me, whatever that means. And then deep sleep, right, as well. I like that my deep sleep is around 20% of my sleep time, right? So the beauty of this is that two of those stages of sleep that I'll concentrate on, and then one that is very important for the point I'm making in this video, right? It is the deep stage of sleep and the REM stage of sleep, right? So once you get into the light sleep stage, your body relaxes, your muscles relaxes, and then you get into some calmness, right? And then you get into your deep sleep. At the deep stage of sleep is when your body starts to repair itself, because the body repairs itself, it rejuvenates, it recreates, right? It's at the deep stage of sleep that the physical rejuvenation starts. Your body releases chemicals to help your body to heal, right? So that's when this happens, right? And then you also have the REM stage of sleep, which is where rapid eye movement. If you've had babies, if you had children, and you watch them while they sleep, right, you see that the eyeballs are moving, right, while they're sleeping. They're dreaming. They're actually dreaming at that point, right? That's a REM stage of sleep. At this stage of sleep, it is unconscious. Your consciousness is not there. What is happening at this stage of sleep of REM is your brain starts to use your memory, your experiences during the day, the emotional experiences you also had, and anything that you kind of noticed, or even the things you did not notice. So things that you did not notice. And what do I mean by that? Explain something very quickly. So our brain is constantly noticing things and picking up information from our environment constantly on a daily basis, right? It's said that the brain takes in, I think, is about 1 million gigabytes of information every single day, or is even every single minute, right? So this is happening constantly. Stock is thinking about what is happening outside, what's happening on the floor, what's happening in the air, the things happening that you in your consciousness are not even aware that those things are being recorded in your brain, right? And the brain there's a part of the brain called the reticular activating system that its job is to filter off almost everything, more than 99% of what the brain picks up. Because if not, you'll be overwhelmed. It's too much information, right? And so its job is to make sure you only become aware of the things it's considered important for you, or the things you've instructed yourself to focus on. So it only brings through anything that is related to that to your consciousness, right? The human is powerful. God created our brains and our bodies it's just powerful. If you understand this, you'll be more you live more in gratitude for who you are. Anyhow, so it's the same areas that makes you, when you suddenly decide you've been driving a Ford vehicle for the past 3 years, and suddenly it's okay, I wish I can buy a Mercedes GLA, for instance, right? The moment you say that, your brain recognizes that you have just said, I wish I can have a Mercedes GLA, right? What will start to happen is everywhere you go to, you will start to notice a Mercedes GLA. And so you ask yourself, come on, wait a minute. I've been moving around in life for the past 2 years. I've not noticed this vehicle. But everywhere I go to now, I see the vehicle, right? It is not because those vehicles suddenly became available. No, they've always been there. But your RAS has been filtering them off because they didn't consider it as information you need, right, at the moment, right? And so that's how we live. We only are aware of the things that we are aware of, right? Things you're not aware of, what you don't know that you don't know, you don't even know that you don't know them. But it doesn't mean that your brain is not picking information about those things. It's just not bringing it to your awareness because you've not yet given instruction for focus, for intention, right? For you to become aware of those things. So let me just leave it there for now. So what tends to happen at REM stage of sleep is the brain starts to then bring all this information together. That's why you have dreams, right? Is information that's already come to you before, consciously or unconsciously, starts to play, right? And that time of REM is also great because it's the brain aligning information, joining dots together, recombining information together, right, in memory, to then you see them as dreams, or you wake up and you have more clarity. So when someone says, let me sleep over it, the moment they say that and they go to sleep with intention, during the REM stage of sleep, all the information, all the facts that the brain had taken in regarding that topic, it would then start to align them, start to arrange them, start to bring them together in such a way that it becomes information for you to receive clarity when you are now in your conscious state, when you wake up, right? It's powerful stuff. Right? And so that's why even the Bible, this is recognized by science, it is recognized culturally, is recognized by scripture, right? If you look at let me read something for you, right? From Job 33, verse 15, right? It says, where is it here now? It says, in a dream, in a vision of the night, when deep sleep falls upon men, in slumberings upon the bed, then he opens the ears of men and he seals their instructions, that he may withdraw man from his purpose and hide pride from man. He keepeth back his soul from the pit, and so on and so on and so on. But the key thing for me is in verse 16. Then he opened the ears of men and sealed their instructions in deep sleep. Right? And what I've mentioned before about the RAS and all those sort of things is science. Is science proven those things already? And then culturally, when you listen to some elderly people, they will tell you things that they say can be got from sleep. So it's been known. Sages of the world have known this. Our ancestors have known this for centuries, right? Science is only catching up now, and we've also known this from scriptural readings, right? That instructions are received in the place of sleep, right? And so it is important you know this, right? And because when you know this now, you can use it to your advantage. There are a lot of inventors, right? That people like Albert Einstein, I think even what's the name of the guy that invented the light bulb and things like that. These men always, some of them, when they go to sleep, and they also consciously go to sleep even during the day, right? Why they do that? When they do that, they always have some writing, so a pen and a paper close to them, and they fall asleep. One of those guys, that's what he does. If he needs some inspiration on what to do with his invention, he just goes to sleep and he has a pen and a paper by the side, right? The reason being that once he goes to sleep, what happens in REM stage of sleep is that all that information comes together and lines up. Now, let me tell you why that's also important. Because when you are in REM stage of sleep, you're not conscious, you're sleeping, right? So it's subconscious, it's unconscious, you're unconscious at that stage, but the brain is still working. So it is working, and it is working without your intervention. It's working without your logic coming in, because sometimes our logic, the things we see, influence how we use information, right? So it can limit how we use information. So when you're in REM, it is not you anymore. It's not your it's not your logic now. It is the information that you already have within your system, within your brain, within your awareness, within your memory, right? That is now used to synthesize solutions, right? And so it is important you have sleep long enough to allow your REM to kick in, right? And there's a practice that, this information is not just general information. Use this for your advantage. There's something that is called priming the brain, priming the mind before sleep, right? So what you do with that is, that's why people who pray, people who engage in gratitude, in thanksgiving before sleep, right, usually get results, right? Because what they do is they actually prime their brain. They release information for the brain to then work on whilst they are sleeping. So make that something that is a practice for you, right? So don't have things like yes or no answers. That's not what this is for, right? It's usually for direction, usually for context, for perspective, right? If you want a perspective on something, right, prime your brain with questions like, what am I missing around this? Is there more information I can get about this topic? This presentation I'm going to be giving, is there a way I can make it more compelling? Is there a way I can make it more impactful for people? And then you have that thought and you go to sleep with that thought. Then what tends to happen then is your brain kicks in, your subconscious kicks in, and then brings all the information you know already together, lines it up in a way that it brings clarity for you when you now become conscious when you wake up, right? So I'll leave this here. It was my waking up and looking at my sleep that kind of reminded me of this, and I hope it is something that you will start to practice, right? Be that person that before you go to sleep, you are conscious, you give instructions, you're grateful, you engage in gratitude, and then you lay out the plans and then go to sleep. You wake up in the morning, you have more clarity. I hope this helps you. Eat right. Don't eat things that just get you in a very bad state before you sleep. Eat right, exercise, and just be a person of gratitude, and things will become clearer for you. Okay, I hope this helps. If you have any comments on this, if you've had any experience of what I'm talking about, please share, and it will help other people. And if you think this will help someone else, please also share with them. Okay, until next time, take care. Cheers.